Okay, there we go. I was doing my little dance. So I'm going with a spoon. This is Vivid Talk. I am brand strategist and better life coach. And Vivid Talk is all about your personal and professional development. I'm here to help you learn a fresh way of thinking and doing for all you were designed to build so that you can make your vision vivid. And a vivid vision is one that inspires people, starting with you. I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to follow at Gwen Fuchsius on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and Gwen with a Spoon Coach on YouTube. And so our review segment is where we take another look back on a previous segment, a clip from a previous segment, and then I'm going to build from there. Vivid Talk is about vision, something bigger than yourself that you cannot complete by yourself. So you've got to learn how to do more, be more. You've got to grow, right? And growing really requires some pain. So everything isn't easy. Unfortunately, we have to go through trauma and trial and difficulty in order for us to really come out stronger, to be strong, to be courageous. We're going to come up against fear. We're going to deal with lack. We're going to deal with death. We're going to deal, like there's so many issues of life that we just cannot avoid. But it's the wind that blows against the trunk of the tree that makes the tree strong and causes the roots to grow deep. I used to think the roots, if the roots were strong, the tree would grow up strong. But when you read it, when you study it, the whole concept of a tree growing, a mighty oak growing up strong, it grows up strong because it learns how to withstand the force of the wind. It learns how to withstand the trials. And that's how we grow strong as well. I go through these previous episodes. I search through them so that I can find clips to inspire me for, like tonight's session. And I listened to so many, and that one really hit me because it speaks to what has been happening in the lives of people around me. And I looked up, well, first of all, tonight's title is Choose Courage Over Confusion. Choose courage over confusion. And I looked up the meaning of the word courage. And courage means the ability to do something that frightens you. Strength in the face of pain or grief. Pain or grief. Oh, and so many people that I know are grieving. They're grieving at the loss of family members, to violence, to COVID. They are going through natural disasters. We're watching the news and seeing how the entire country is going through just all of these major storms, this crippling, freezing weather that we're just not used to. Power out, in millions of homes for days in Texas. And, it just really made me think about the fact that, a storm, there's so many different types of storms, right? There's all these, you got a windstorm, you can have a hailstorm, a thunderstorm, all of that. But when I talked about the tree in that clip, I remember the first time I learned that, it just hit me, and it hit me the same way today, because we have to be like the tree, right? We have to develop strength in the middle of storms. It's that wind that blows against the tree. And I have a clip that I started showing accidentally, but the clip shows a tree blowing in the wind, the leaves of the tree, and gently in the wind. But when I looked at it, I thought about the fact that, a tree is out in all kinds of weather. So all of these storms that are happening across the country, there are trees everywhere, that are withstanding all of the elements, all kinds of storms, every type of storm. And what's happening to those trees is they grow stronger. The base of the tree widens and gets stronger as it takes on the force from the storm, right? And then the roots grow deeper as it grows stronger. I used to think, as I said in that clip, that the roots were the thing that made the tree strong. We always talk about getting to the root of a matter. If you get to that core, to the center, that is going to, that's where your strength is. But the strength comes in your core from withstanding the storm, right? And then, so confusion. I looked up the word confusion. It means a lack of understanding. It means uncertainty. It means to be unclear in your mind. It means disorder, upheaval, chaos. And I realized when I saw those two definitions that there are two sources of a storm, or two types of storms. The one is an external, which I talked about, with all of these storms going on around the country. And the second one is internal, which that word confusion, I think, speaks more to this internal storm going on in so many of us. And sometimes that mental and emotional storm is not going on because of some external force. Sometimes it's just we're just chaotic on the inside, and there may be things going on the outside. Excuse me, but we are, but that's a storm nonetheless, right? And we have to understand that no matter what type of storm we're going through, that both of them are going to impair our function. It's going to keep us from feeling confident in the next step to take, in in our future, in our security, in our survival. Like, all of these things are coming against us, really ultimately just to stop us in our tracks, right? And too often we get stopped. And if you're dealing with an emotional storm, sometimes that emotional storm really just keeps you going around in circles where you're not making progress. You look from year to year to year, and you look back and you think, man, I've done all this. I've worked so hard. I've spent all this money. I've invested all this time. I've done all this studying. I've gotten all these degrees, and I'm still not any further along. I'm not where I want to be. I keep hearing from so many people who they have a vision, they have a desire, they have a passion to do something that they're not doing, or maybe they're not doing at the level that they want to. And every time there's something that is keeping them away, it's some type of confusion, right? Brought on by a storm of some kind. So that, when I thought about when you go through an external storm, like the things that are coming on so many people throughout the country, when you have this weather system that you cannot control, that you may have seen some signs or heard that it was coming, but you had to brace yourself in the instant, in the moment. And sometimes it's easier to change because you're forced into a change then, right? Like, you don't have the time to stop and think about whether or not you might want to do something in the middle of this storm. You're going to have to make split-second decisions in some cases. And so in those dire circumstances, we're forced to change. But when you have an emotional or mental situation, sometimes you have to choose that you're going to change. And changing really is a matter of choosing to be courageous. And I'm going to read that definition again. Courage is the ability basically to choose to do something that frightens you, do something that you are afraid of. It's strength in the face of pain or grief. It's the opportunity just to really make a clear decision in the middle of really dire circumstances. So whether they are brought on again by external forces, or whether they are really the outgrowth of some internal issues. And so anyway, so all of that. So there's some practical things I want to break that down to. So I have talked to so many people, and I'm going to send her this video. So I'm not going to say your name, but but you'll know I'm talking about you. But I talked to somebody today that said, "Hey, I need some help. I want to go through your coaching program, but you know what? If I make this kind of," actually, she's not the only one. I've talked to two people who said, "You know what? I can make this. I don't want to make this kind of investment. I know how I am." But she said, maybe my problem is that I'm just really disorganized. And it really got me thinking. Like when I first, whatever my answer was to her, I was thinking that needs to be my subject for tonight. But this is not 100% that subject, but it's related, because what I realized is we all have these great things that we want to do. And oftentimes we can get caught in a cycle by ourselves where we are doing the same thing over and over and over again, and we don't make the progress we want because we are not being courageous enough to make a decisive, definitive change. And so you may not be going through a natural storm where there are natural disasters, or you are facing like death in your family, just devastating losses. You may not be there, but you might be in a situation where you are caught in a storm of activity that is keeping you busy, but it's not producing what you want in your life. And what happens if you stay in that cycle all by yourself, you're going to end up, I think what we do then is we kind of become self-defeating, self-sabotaging, because we think, it doesn't make any difference if I make this change, if I try to do anything different, because I know what I've done before. I know how I am. So I'm not even going to do it. And what struck me was these people didn't say, I don't have the money. They said, I have the money, but I'm afraid that if I make that kind of an investment, I'm going to lose. So instead of being inspired by what they can gain and the progress they could finally make, it's like they shrink back and say, I probably shouldn't because I know how I am, right? And I think at its core, like deep down, that shows me that there's some confusion going on. And especially when she said, maybe I'm just disorganized, right? I need help getting organized. And I always go back to vision, right? Vision is the thing that helps you to enforce discipline on yourself. And when you have a vision, then, the Bible says without it, we perish. So if there's a situation or circumstance in your life that's not proving, coming out the way you want, then that's the area where you need vision. And vision is going to give you the motivation that you need to go ahead and get organized, right? Like it's almost like somebody can get you organized. You can even hire somebody, pay them to come in, get all your stuff together. But if you haven't made any changes in this, and the same thing is going on inside of you, you're still confused internally, and you're not in a place where you are allowing yourself, one, to get a vision, to imagine a more positive future, to imagine what would make your life better. If you're not in that situation, then you're going to, like, that would be the reason that you would continue to go in circles and continue, and I think at a certain point you have to recognize that you're going to have to do something different to get yourself out of that cycle. And the one thing that you would have to do different is, first and foremost, is you've got to choose courage over confusion. You've got to recognize that you're in a confused situation and then choose courage over that. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to talk to you about 5 keys to courage. This is going to be good. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, Tom, I have it with me right here.
Hey, the kids want to know when you'll be home.
It's great you took the risk, but it's time to admit it's not working.
No.
I know you gave it your best shot, but maybe it's time.
Maybe it's time to get a real job.
Welcome back to Vivid Talk. We talked before the break, about the difference between courage and confusion, and the fact that we need to choose courage over confusion in the middle of a storm. that two types of storm. There are external, those natural disasters, those life events, devastating personal losses that we can't see coming. And then also those internal emotional and mental storms that keep us from really making the progress that we want to make. It keeps us from making the courageous decisions that we need to make to move forward. And now I want to kind of take you through 5 keys to courage. So the title is Choose Courage Over Confusion, and this is how you do it. 5 steps. 1, well, I'll read it all 5 first. Organization, these are all Asians. Organization, preparation, elimination, collaboration, and motivation. Organization. You have to create order. So a storm, when I think of a storm, I just think of like when the storm is over, what does it leave you? The storm leaves you in the middle of chaos, right? And we live in Atlanta, and it's a city in a forest. So any heavy rain, storm, ice, snow, anything, there are trees somewhere in the city falling down, right? And the roads are blocked. Houses, you can see trees falling down on houses. You can see the tarps, after the fact. So it leaves chaos. And what you have to do is you've got to create order for yourself. And that can take on many forms. It doesn't have to be this total big sweeping, total overhaul. On the day after a storm, if a tree falls on your house, the first thing you want to do is get some tarp. Let's keep extra damage and additional damage from happening. So that's a way of creating some order. You may have suffered some deep and devastating personal losses. And the one way you can create some order is you can just figure out a way to get up every day and get yourself moving. Like, it doesn't have to be some big, just colossal change but you do have to find some order for yourself in some way. And then the other is preparation. You have to gather tools. And I was showing my husband, there's an article in the news about a mayor in Texas who resigned after posting this scathing Facebook, it is making this scathing post on Facebook. And he apparently had just gotten really frustrated with people calling the city, complaining about the fact that their power had been out for hours and days, and apparently being very demanding and expecting the city to do all this work to help them, and the fact that they had no heat in, below 0 temperatures. So he was just fed up, and he basically said, only the strong survive, and get over it, and stop expecting everybody to do stuff for you. And he just went off. And we knew when we first read it, I thought, oh, that's horrible for a public servant to have that kind of an attitude toward people, to even dare. I mean, it was long. It wasn't even like a short little outburst. It was this long, well-prepared, just talk, he went in. But I thought about it. When I was talking about it with Ron, he said, you got to be prepared for a storm. You got to know a storm is coming. You got to have stuff ready. You got to have food. You got to know even before it's happening to prepare yourself. And so once you're in the storm, it's too late. You can't prepare then. But once the storm is over, one of the keys to courage is to make preparation so that next time you can kind of shield yourself, protect yourself a little bit more. And that preparation really includes some simple plan, some kind of a plan, so that you can weather the storm the next time, because it's coming. That's the one thing we know for sure. You don't know when it's coming. You don't know how it's coming, but it's coming because we're living in this world system. And unfortunately, that's part of life. There's all the trauma, as I mentioned in the clip in the beginning, all the trauma that we go through, thankfully, will produce something good for us in the end if we allow ourselves to learn the lesson and go through it. That's the thing that really makes you strong. It's withstanding the wind. That's how you're going to grow up and be strong, and how your roots are going to go deep, and you'll be able to endure but preparation is the key. You got to gather the tools that you're going to need. Get yourself some batteries, get some candles, get ready. And emotionally, you have to prepare. You've got to figure out how are you going to take care of yourself mentally and emotionally. So even when you're not having all those external things, sometimes we go through a storm because we're just too privileged and too comfortable and too set up in this country. Even our lowest compared to other people in other, other countries, we're still doing amazing, in the middle of that. So preparation, you got to figure out how you're going to take care of yourself no matter what. And then the next one is elimination. You've got to remove everything that doesn't protect you, everything that doesn't serve you, everything that's not going to shelter you, right? You've got to do it brutally. And if you're in a natural disaster and there's some major tornado or hurricane coming, you got to prepare yourself quick and you got to eliminate everything. If you're in a boat and there's a storm, they start throwing stuff out overboard so that you can survive, right? So you got to be like that about every aspect of your life. At a certain point, you can't say, oh my God, I'm too busy. I don't know how. I know I'm not going to do that. I got all these other things to do. I know I'm not going to do this. Well, if you know that about yourself, you got to go look and find where your time is going, figure it out, track yourself, discipline yourself, and it'll help you to start paying attention to what you're doing. And then you got to start eliminating the stuff that doesn't serve you. I mean, like brutally. Okay, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do this. That's hard for somebody like me who I am comfortable with a lot of moving parts and elements coming together. Complexity does not scare me. And matter of fact, I probably like it, more than most people. But even I have to say, you know what? I'm going to take this off. It's not a bad thing. This isn't, I don't think that this is necessarily a huge hindrance. But at the same time, if I have a vision to go there and I need time to put together what it's going to take to get me there, I can take this, like this, I can sacrifice this. So let me pull this off the table and it won't even be a problem. So you have to remove everything that doesn't serve you. And then collaboration. You have to find allies and pool your resources. And you can't go it alone. You can't be in isolation. You can't be a loner. And we had somebody come by for a photo shoot to the studio, and we were connecting around the fact that we were both military brats, and we were used to moving as children every 2-3 years because every time Daddy moved, we had to go, and so we got used to it. And we talked about the benefit of having a life like that. It makes you very flexible and it makes you, very adaptable and resilient and all of that. But she said one thing. She goes, but I realized it made me a loner. And I just went, oh, wow, oh me, right? And I'm like, you know what? That has made me a loner. And you know what? Being a loner, I can look back now over my life and see how that has not served me. And so when you learn how to collaborate and find allies and get help, sometimes when you are very capable and you are very resourceful and you're very strong and self-reliant, you know how to solve your own problems. So many times you may not even know to even ask somebody to help you if you do run into any kind of a challenge, because you always feel like you can figure it out, right? And you probably can figure it out. However, you don't have to figure out all the time. And sometimes we need the strength of other people more often really than we probably even know. And all of us being so isolated from each other during this COVID situation has to really drive that point home for us. We need each other a whole lot more than we really realize. And you need to collaborate. That's why we're doing the group coaching. There's a lot that you can do yourself. We can point you in the right direction, give you some resources, and you can go make a lot of progress. But if you don't have somebody that's a soundboard, if you don't have a roadmap, if you don't have mentors and people that have been down that path before, it's going to make your journey a little bit more difficult. In some cases, a lot more difficult. And in others, it'll just stop you completely because you don't have the resilience and the support system that you need to move forward. You can't do great things by yourself every great person has got some kind of a network of people that's working with them and helping them. So you've got to figure out a way to collaborate and that gives you courage, because you get feedback from other people that helps you feel confident in your decisions, and really brings a certain amount of comfort. That's why we love community, coming together and finding people who have common ground and who understand who we are, we can share our ideas and thoughts with. And I just connected in an online community with somebody about the Oxford comma, right? And it was thrilling. So we need to connect with other people. We need community. We need to collaborate. And then the last is motivation. You've got to identify the triggers that are going to get you moving. And sometimes, it's very practical. It could be schedule a meeting for a specific day or a specific time of day. Set a deadline for yourself that somebody else is watching or somebody else is going to call you on. So you have to get up and go do it. Make some kind of a commitment. Obligate yourself to someone, somewhere, somehow, and that will be a trigger that will make you might be kicking and screaming and dragging and groaning, but it will make you get up and go, okay, I can't allow this to slip. If you are a loner, if you're isolated, if you make a commitment to yourself and you don't follow through on that, there's no one that's going to call you on it. So that's why you've got to have collaboration with somebody, and you've got to do something that's going to cause you to take action. And you're the only one that really completely and fully knows what those triggers are. And the other thing is selling. So this is a funny one. It doesn't seem like it matches all the other things, but I'm doing a lot of study about developing training programs and courses, like coaches and speakers and thought leaders and influencers creating their own courses and creating their own digital products. And in this whole technological realm where all of this is being automated, and it's showing you how to build even when you don't have an audience, when you don't have you barely know what you want to say. Like, it shows you there's a system and a process that you can use to create ongoing recurring revenue for yourself. And one of the things they talk about over and over is sell it before it's finished. Sell it before it's finished. And I'm telling you, if you sell it before it's finished and somebody buys it, when they do, that's going to motivate you to go, oops, now I got to create this, right? Because you have obligated yourself to someone. You have put it out there that, hey, this is what I do. This is how I can help you. This is the problem I can solve with you. And when you do that, it's going to help you to just muster the strength to press through what makes you stop. And if you don't have that, it's so easy to just lose courage, to be defeated, to be discouraged. So the 5 keys to courage: organization. You got to create some order for yourself. Preparation. You got to gather tools. Elimination. Remove everything that does not serve you, everything that doesn't protect you in the middle of a storm. Collaboration. You got to find allies, pool resources. And then motivation. You got to identify the triggers that'll get you moving. And I'm telling you, the fact that I have committed that on Wednesdays at 7 p.m., I am doing this show no matter what. I may falter through the day. I may struggle all day long to figure out what I'm going to say. But the fact that 7 o'clock hits, okay, technical issues, doesn't matter. I'm doing this show, right? That is a trigger that forces me to break through mental blocks, any kind of a challenge, emotional issues. Like, it makes me get up and move. So you got to figure that out for yourself. So you can choose courage over confusion. Okay. Now, I told you about the tree, and I really want to show you this video because it is such a beautiful illustration and animation of the tree growing and its roots coming. So I want you to see it. You can be like the tree when you choose courage over confusion. every week I want to give you a tool, something practical that you can use to kind of help you move forward. Last week, I launched a new portal called Vivid Academy Learning Portal. And I want to go ahead this week and offer you a membership to that again. Now, the portal, all you have to do is just literally go to visit portal.vivid.academy, and you're going to come to the homepage that looks like this, and it's gonna, that little lovely choose a plan button gives you the opportunity to choose. You can choose a free plan. There's a paid premium program group coaching thing I'm doing, and there's also our annual Vivid Insider that's only $45 a year, or $4.99 a month. So super, super, super affordable. Everybody can afford free, and so no matter what level you join, it's going to be a great place to be, because you'll have an opportunity. I'm publishing all my content there. Eventually, there are going to be other coaches and other people there, other contributors there. They'll give you an opportunity to meet other people that are entrepreneurial, that are enterprising, that are in the same boat you're in, that are trying to build their personal brands, build their businesses, and all the resources that I can possibly create are going to be put into that portal. It's a wonderful, really easy to use social community. It's like, I call it a learning hub, and I believe you're going to get a lot out of it. And I'm grateful that you were taking the time to watch Vivid Talk, but I want to also provide you with practical resources and tools so you can take action and use the concepts that I'm teaching here in your own life and in your circumstance. And if you need help, if you want coaching, then I want to be able to provide that to you in just a meaningful way. So this portal is really the best place to go, so that you can get whatever you need to make your vision vivid. So thank you so much for joining me. Come back every week, Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to be here.